Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is Daryl, my friend, and this is brand new Ola S1 Pro. And I think cue the intro. The coolest part of having a Ola is the speakers. This headlight over here might remind you of a certain animated movie from Disney, and Wall-E E is what I'm talking about. Inspired by Wall-E E, great to have. Inspiration for movies, I mean, look at my RS200, inspired from Bumblebee. Okay, so I am 6'3" and I am putting my leg up. I'm sitting fairly okay, like I would sit on my axis, and you can see where my knees are reaching. Both sides, I'll put my knees up. And you can see I'm wearing shorts today, so don't judge me. This is the first EV on the channel, by the way. We are like 6,900 some subscribers, and this is the first EV. This is the future. Now let's talk about the design. First of all, the swing arm, single-sided swing arm on the back, and you can see the entire mag wheel is exposed over here, which is a good design element. It's something like the Ducatis have this similar design element at the back. Coming to the front, you have a single shock. This is the first for the segment, whether it is EV or IC engines. No other scooter in India or motorcycle has a single shock in the front. Also, the mag wheel exposed in the front because the swing arm is only attached to one, the shock absorber rather is attached only to one side. You got a disc brake in front, fairly fat tires, very sleek. Indicators, no fancy business of curves, streaks. There are curves and there are lines, but otherwise kept it very simple. And coming to other design elements, the foot peg. Look at the foot peg, how it's integrated with the entire design. It's almost flush except for this thing. I think that's a really cool thing. Huge grab handles, sturdy as well. This thing is the charging port, green number plate. The rear tail lights also flush with the entire design, keeping it well integrated. Also the stand. The stand is something that when the first renders of the Ola scooter came out, I thought it was a really good idea to have a notch here and then put in the stand into the notch. Really good feature. The fact of the matter is that this whole EV thing that's coming in, they have so much torque low down that as soon as you give it some amount of throttle, it just wants to fly. That's how EVs are. The Ola, the greatest, the Teslas, all the EVs that are coming are so good in providing low down torque, and they make it the perfect tool in the city, like a city like Mumbai where there's so much of traffic, where the stop go. Okay guys, so we are here with the owner of the Ola S1 Pro, that's Daryl. We're going to ask him some questions, and definitely he's made this choice. He's the best person to ask these questions to, and we'll understand what he thought when he bought the Ola. So Daryl, what was your scooter or motorcycle before this?
So I had the Dio before this.
So you had the Honda Dio. I think that was the last generation Dio.
Yeah, I had it for a good 10 years.
Okay.
So I paid 55,000 for it in 2013, and once it was 10 years, I said I have to go in for a new one.
Okay.
So I decided to go in for this baby.
So how much did you pay?
Costed 1,40,000 on road.
Okay.
Basically, it's 1,25,000.
Okay.
10,000 is your insurance, and with your other add-ons, it's 140.
Were there any add-ons that you chose to put on this?
No, not really. So they have the main stand,
Okay.
which is 2,500. So it's been 10 days now. I had to charge it just once. It took me around 5 hours
To charge.
from around
Okay.
18% to 100%.
And how many kilometers have you done on it so far?
It's over 100. It's around 130.
Okay, so in 130 kilometers, I think that's a very good amount for you to tell us what do you think about the suspension, and what do you think about the riding dynamics out on the highway, especially when you compare it to your older scooter.
Right. So it's two completely different universes.
Okay.
So the Dio was very light. This is a heavy scooter.
Okay.
Very comfortable.
So I think the Dio is about
The
100
time
and...
you feel you're on a scooter
Huh.
is when the sun burns you. Otherwise, it is exactly like a car. You have cruise control. You have 3 different modes
Okay.
that you can change and get into,
Okay.
and which changes the entire dynamics of it. You can go from 0 to 40 in 2.9 seconds.
That's insane.
It just flies.
So let me tell you, the 0 to 40 is something, but 0 to 60 is about 4 seconds.
Yes.
Now to put that into perspective, my 135 LS that's parked in the garage does 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. And that's a 135 cc's motorcycle. And that is light as well. And that's lighter than this. That's 122 kgs, this is 135. But so you were talking about the weight.
Yeah.
Comparing it to the Dio. Now the Dio is approximately about 100 to 110 kgs.
Right.
And this is about...
This is 135 kgs.
Okay, that's significant.
It's way sturdier. On the highway you will not feel it, like you won't feel the weight. But the big difference is it is heavy, so it wouldn't move. I touched 90 yesterday and I felt like I was on 65, 70.
Okay.
On the Dio, even though the top speed is 80, but at 80 the entire bike starts vibrating and you feel like you're doing 110.
Yeah.
Actually at 80.
So to put this into perspective, EVs inherently are more heavy because of the battery pack, and the Dio is one of the lightest scooters in its category. I mean, that thing was made for speed and agility. So the Dio is very flighty. It feels like now it's going to take off. Now it's going to be flying with other aircrafts in the sky. But this thing, look at the tires. Okay, look at the way it is sitting. On what is it sitting? Look at the amount of contact patch this thing has. This is like my RS tire almost. I mean, I think the thickness is almost the same. Yeah, around the same.
Yeah.
But if you look at what it's sitting on, plus the weight, plus the fact that this body is not very shabby, I don't think it creates a lot of drag, and it moves around a lot. On the Dio, I've ridden Dios before, and if a truck passed you, the wind blast would shake the Dio.
Very, yeah.
But this thing will not shake because it's obviously
It won't
heavier.
budge a bit.
Yeah, it won't budge. Okay, so a very important part about this OLA's package is obviously the monoshock in front, but also this parallelly mounted suspension. If you can see, it's parallelly mounted. So with the motor chassis, it's parallelly mounted. And what do you think about the suspension? How well does it work?
It is amazing. I'm telling you, it feels like you're on a car.
Okay.
You don't feel the bumps. I would say it's 3 times or 4 times better than your Dio or anything. It's,
Okay.
It's as good as
And
a
this
car.
is, you've taken it, I think, to
I've gone
Kandivli.
to Kandivli, I've gone the highways, and you know, if I
Double
go to
seat.
Kandivli on the highway, you know the amount of bitches.
Yeah,
The Bombay roads are the best.
yeah. And so double seat, if it's so comfortable, then I mean
Yes,
single
so
seat.
One amazing thing is, even though the body is so sleek, the pillion seat is huge.
It's huge. Yeah.
Is huge. This
To put it
is
into
like the
perspective, this is
Vespa-
my hand,
Yes.
and this is how much more seat is available. And the broad seat along with this grab handle, I mean, it's reassuring. I mean, for the kind of speed that this thing can do and the performance it has, it's kind of reassuring.
The top speed is 116. I've not yet reached there.
Okay, also another thing is people coming from from IC engines like a Dio or whatever.
Right.
When they buy a new scooter, the manufacturer tells you 500 kilometers stuck, don't ride it harsh, or don't take it above 40 or whatever. Does this have a run-in period?
So there's absolutely nothing. I had checked with them. There's absolutely nothing. It's zero maintenance. There's no servicing. Nothing required. You can go to whatever speed you want initially.
And the cost, you were telling me about the cost per kilometer, that's pretty remarkable also.
If you wanted to take a wild guess,
I
how much do you think it would cost?
I think it's in below even a rupee, I think,
Yeah, so it's 20 paise per kilometer.
per kilometer. So that's
So
how.
it's on 100 rupees electricity, you will go 500 kilometers.
So that's to give you into perspective. Bombay to Goa is around
600.
600. So you are almost there.
Yeah. The only drawback that I would say is the number of charging ports.
Okay.
So they are on the rise. I spoke to the guy, like we are from Bandra, there's nothing here.
Okay.
The closest one is Andheri, you have one at Malad, you have it at Vashi, Panvel, Maple, but they are on the rise, and within a year they are going to be like mosquitoes.
Okay.
In the city.
In the city. And they are offering you what? Free charging, or you have to pay for a membership?
I asked him that too. He said at the moment it's free charging, but being India and our country is great. So at the charging stations they are charging you 20 rupees parking charges.
Okay.
So that is it. You're paying.
But I guess that's fair because they have to get the space.
Exactly.
So that's there. Okay. Okay, now we're going to put the Ola S1 Pro into the reverse mode that it has. Mind you, this was one of the controversial features that the Ola got a lot of flack for in I think 1.5 years ago. So now let's put it into reverse. Reverse R, and then it goes behind. I like the fact that it makes sound and the indicators come on. It's got all of its. Okay. And another feature that we showed you in the intro is the speakers. There's 2 speakers here and enough space to put 2 phones if you own 2 phones. Now this is what is this?
S21 Ultra.
S21 Ultra, so you can
huge phone.
Yeah, it's a huge phone, and you can see how well it fits there. So that's a lot of space. I don't think a bottle would fit though, but a phone and a charging port's right there, so that would fit easy. Okay, let's go. We are riding the Ola S1 Pro. Okay, that's very, very quiet. So one of the drawbacks that Daryl spoke to me about is the fact that these EVs are it stopped. Okay, that was a cutoff. These EVs are very, very quiet, and what that means is people are not ready for you on the road. Normally they are used to listening to engine sounds and horns and stuff, and if you don't press a horn on this, it will not know. No one will know you're coming. Now let's press out the horn. That's pretty loud, I think. It's very, very quick. It's so quick. And you know what? It's very funny when you go for the brakes, it's cutting off the power. Wow. The suspension. Okay, we have bumpy roads here. Suspension's pretty good. Nothing bad about it. So when I say that the acceleration's quick. Fuck! Wow! No. The reason I'm so surprised is because normally on IC engines you're used to this engine revving up sound, which is not there on this. So you don't know what to expect until you really get in there, and this is a normal mode, I'm guessing. So on sport mode it's going to be mad. This will be full send mode. So a thing I noticed just now is I'm used to holding the brake when I'm slowing down. I hold the wow. So I'm used to holding the brake when I'm coming close to an obstacle. Like, okay, this is speed breaker. I press the brake slowly, and then I open the throttle and leave the brake at the same time. Now this will not accelerate until the brake is left completely, so if I'm holding the brake, it will. So that's something that a lot of reviewers highlighted, and I'm feeling it too, but it's not such a big issue. You'll get used to it once you know what the scooter is doing. And this thing is okay. This nut needs to be tightened. There's a fair amount of room, and something I like about what they've done with the dash, at least it's huge. It's right in your face, and it's not low. The access also is pretty high. Okay, talking about the range specs on the Ola S1 Pro, certified with a bunch of conditions is 185 kilometers. Realistically, in all of the modes. You can get about 140 in eco, and in sport you can get about 130
and
and 120, about 110 to 120 in the hyper mode. Now these are all very, very good numbers for a scooter that's going to be in the city and all of that. So I don't think there's anything to worry about that. But yeah, obviously people will always make comparisons to ICE engines. That's the manner of the business at this point. Yeah, it opened.
Oh.
Okay, so this is the amount of storage that the Ola has. Now obviously the charger is here, but this is a lot of storage if you compare this to, say, my Access. The Access has that bulge over here, which makes it difficult to store more, and that rhymes. But if you look at the charger is pretty bulky, and it has some fans inside, I think, to get the heat out.
Yes. So when you get a new pack, it comes completely packed.
Okay.
So one thing to remember is, I didn't know about this either. You have to remove the entire covering.
Okay.
So there's a plastic covering, because if you don't, the hot air needs to go out.
Yeah, it will not.
So your charging time, which is around 5 to 6 hours, will increase by 2 hours. So
Okay.
I called the guy up and he told me you have to remove the plastic. Have you removed it? So I told him no. Then I removed it, and then it finished in 5
Okay.
hours.
So that means this is dependent on heat and to give your scooter charge.
Yes, that's the fact.
Okay, and the charging port?
This is the one.
Okay.
So you just tap. This is the charging port. You just
Yeah,
tap it,
to open it.
and it opens.
Okay.
And then, like you see, you have this groove here. So you just need to align it.
Okay. Oh wow, this brick is huge.
You just need to align it here.
Okay.
Sorry, here. And that's it. It's done.
Okay.
You plug in the other end. The best part is you can charge it from anything. Your normal light, fan, the same.
The
plug
same
for
output,
your
yeah.
phone, the same output.
Okay.
Here first. Okay, first of all, I wanted to say a big thank you to Daryl. He's the owner of the Ola S1 Pro, and he was almost 10 days into his usage at that point in time. And why is it important? First of all, it's an owner's perspective. Also, these EVs that are coming out are very, very electronically inclined. You know, they have a lot of interface options. They have a lot of things to do with the touchscreen, and you need someone to fidget with it to find out core features. Just like you have a smartphone and you will take a few days to learn about all the features of the smartphone, well, the Ola S1 Pro is like a smartphone but with 2 wheels on it. So it's great to have his opinion and why he bought the Ola S1 Pro, putting your hard-earned money into something. I think that's the ultimate opinion, and that is, when someone picks a motorcycle like that, you know they have done all of the logical thinking and then bought it. Okay, coming to the suspension, I did sit pillion with Daryl, and the parallel suspension does work well to cut off many smaller undulations, but really sharp bumps you will feel it. But then it comes down to the amount of suspension travel it has also, and the weight of the scooter being higher, on the higher side, it makes the suspension very compliant on most roads. You'll have an issue on sharp bumps, and that would happen on any scooter or any motorcycle even that is set up that way. It's like I shoot in every part of my house just so that I can stay away from the noise that my parents are making. That sounds wrong. But yeah, they're talking to people and I don't want that audio to come in this video. Talking about the torque. EVs are the new master of torque, if you made the Yamaha reference. Performance wise, I think EVs are very surprising, very exciting as well. The only thing is, people are still going to have that range anxiety thing. And right now, if I talk about my personal usage on how I use my RS and my LS, or even the Access for that matter, in a week I'm doing about 187 kilometers in a week. That's 5 days working, 18 kilometers one way. So for me, the Ola would be like, I would have to charge it twice a week. But then again, that's 18 kilometers is a pretty long distance for someone to ride daily to work. The Ola S1 Pro, if you're taking it within your area, I think you will have to charge it maybe once in 2 weeks. So It depends on your usage and how you're riding it, because these things are very dependent on how much you're gassing it, just like a ICE would. But the thing is, a ICE, even if you're not moving in traffic, it is still sucking fuel. But this, when the motor is not running, it's not sucking any power. I just wanted to make a note of this thing, that the Ola that I rode like 1 week ago is very different from the Ola that was available in the market 2 years ago. There were a lot of bugs at that time, there were a lot of production issues at that time. But we have to remember one thing, that with EVs, there is a lot of software, there is a lot of battery optimization. And software is a very difficult part, battery optimization is new. Just like you own a smartphone, there are going to be software bugs, glitches here and there, and it gets ironed out over time. I think software for EVs is going to have the same trajectory. As for battery technology, a lot of testing is required. The technology is relatively new, and you're selling so much. So IC engines from back in the day, if you bought an internal combustion engine from the year 2000, it will be very different from an IC selling today. You have so many things that have changed in terms of emission norms, in terms of the way the engine is making power, in terms of cooling technology and everything. So EVs are going to follow the same path. Maybe they will follow it faster because now the requirement is more, and maybe you will not have the same cooling solutions, you will not have the same gearing and all of that, but things will happen in the same way. So that's all for this video. I will see you in the next one. Till then, like, share, comment. And EVs, they're extremely quiet, man. They're extremely quiet. I find it very, very difficult to get my head around the fact that they're so quiet and that they accelerate so quickly. I don't know what's going to happen when this EV technology hits motorcycles with gears. Maybe, I don't know if they will have gears in the future. That insane acceleration on motorcycles, I don't think a lot of motorcycles, like imagine Ducati making an EV with Ducati level acceleration plus 5%. That's how exciting an EV Ducati would be. I'll see you on the next one.